Okay, this is a quick before. Now remember, this isn't my bike. I have this bike in my garage almost all the time. Me and my buddy bought the bikes at the same time. This is his spaghetti, not mine. But just showing you kind of how things look. I'm going to clean some stuff up here, and that carburetor's getting moved. Be honest with me, guys. How many of you out there with the Boom Vaders and the 190s have your carburetor set up like this? Sticking out. Most of the time coming close to conflicting with your air cleaner. Eating all of the dirt and road dust. Not only that, interrupting your jetting, changing the way your carburetor performs because it's getting forced air, and these motors aren't big enough to gulp all that. It's not a V8 with more potential than they're made with. Okay, I'm gonna clean all this up. I mean, look at this. This looks like an old man bell pepper Mel Brooks, you know, troll from the movie Troll looking nose. Look at that. It looks like worse than fucking Toucan Sam. You know, and then look at the fender. It bangs. Whenever you compress the suspension all the way, it bangs. So we're going to fix this. So I bought this aluminum tube. This aluminum tubing with the bend, the 90-degree bend in it, off eBay. And you can see the way things are mounted there. We're going to be moving this, putting it down there, and then you can see the way that what we want to do. We want to put the carburetor right here. So I'm going to put the camera down and get busy, and I'll try to record the next step. So one of the big tricks is using the manifold adapter flange to put one of these carburetors on a manifold like this. You stick it on the head like that. So you can kind of see where this is going. I'm still going to have to trim this part to bring it down for clearance and to get it in a good position. Then after I cut it, I'm also going to have to use my vise and a body shop hammer, and I'm gonna have to roll a little flanged outward lip to where when you clamp these down, it doesn't slowly shake itself out with the weight of the carburetor. And I also might be making a hose clamp style. I might do something to support it and keep it from shaking around, depending on how things go. I'm also gonna have to trim this back, so I'm gonna get to trimming. Okay, this is the mock-up. Looking good so far. Now I am going to trim this and move it back to where I can see you might end up come up with a confliction problem where the gas tank dips down, so we want it to be back a little more to give room for the throttle cable and everything. And then we're going to use a uni because it's going to be tucked underneath. It's going to be in the fairing. Okay, you'll still be able to reach underneath and kind of get to the choke. Without a problem. You'll have to definitely get off the bike and reach from either side to get to the idle adjust right here, but it's still accessible. Everything's still accessible. And like I said, we're going to use a foam uni filter, because if you have a filter like this or even a thin cone filter, they kind of mist and irradiate a mist of fuel, which can gather up in here and become a fire trap. Okay, so this is coming out even better than I thought. Plenty of room for the cable and everything to operate the throttle. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is aesthetically. And then this foam filter. I could put the outer one, but it's not out in the front. It's not going to be exposed like it was before. So just this one to keep the fuel mist from coming out and creating a fire hazard. Dude, it's solid. I don't need to put any other mount or anything. And yes, all of this stuff is oily from this system leaking. Now that's fixed. Got the rebreather or the oil system set up to any overflow goes right back into the head valve cover. But yeah, look at this. Now I just need to do the fuel line from the other side. I'm going to redo my buddy's fuel line with some racing fuel line and clean it up. I'm probably going to run it over the frame like this, run it sideways over the frame. You don't want to dip. You don't ever want to dip your fuel and then come up to your carburetor. Just like you don't ever want to go up high and then down, because you'll get air bubbles. You always want to go down and down and down and down. Follow gravity. Don't ever do loopy shit with your fuel lines. Okay, I just took this thing for a short little test ride just to make sure that everything is on solid and working correctly, and it works beautiful. It's out of the way. I'm gonna put the plastics back on, and then I'll show you some footage of it with the plastics on and how it looks all put back together. So now look, here we go. 190, actually 212. I thought this was the 190, but then I seen right there, I don't know if you can see it, but YT212. But look how beautiful this thing looks without the carburetor sticking out there like a big old schlong on a skirt. See? Nice, clean, everything fits, tucked underneath the fairing with a cowling. No big ugly small hat nose. No Mel Brooks bell pepper looking nose. Clean and tucked.